What's up, guys? Ricky here with another top 10 list on the top 10 DC Multiverse figures by McFarlane so far. So I know he's been releasing these like crazy, so I'm sure this list can change in a year or two. But for now, this is the list I accumulated. So we'll have the top 10, we'll have honorable mentions, and hopefully you enjoy this list. So feel free to like, subscribe, and add in the comments if you agree or disagree, or if we should have added any to the list. So thank you all so much. Looking forward to taking you through this list. Okay, and number 10 on our list of best DC Multiverse McFarlane figures so far is the Todd McFarlane designed Batman. And I think this one is sweet. So I originally passed on it, which was funny because I didn't really like the image such, like the pictures. However, I went to a bookstore and bought and had it on discount, so I decided to pick it up. And after I opened it up and had it in person, it's so much cooler than I anticipated. So one, right, he did some extra details. So he did a wash and kind of dry brushed the face a little bit to make it look a little more detailed. I put a wash on it too, also to bring in some of the details. I bring out some of the details. Painted a lot of the pouches brown and added some silver highlights. And this is cool. I did not notice this in the package, that it had a little spot for its daggers on its cape. And right, that cape is very, right, Spawn-esque, which I think is really cool. So that's why I like that one a lot. But overall, it's a really cool looking Batman and looks really neat posed next to Spawn. So if you have the opportunity to pick it up, I know they did this one and they did the gold edition, I believe, which came with a few different accessories. I say pick it up because it's actually a really, really cool Batman and made number 10 on my list of DC Multiverse figures so far. Okay, number 9 on our list is Death Metal Batman and the Death Metal Bat Cycle. Such a cool figure. So when I saw this one, I thought, you know what, I have to get it. I saw some pictures of it because, I don't know if I said this, but like I don't really collect DC figures. Never really have. And since McFarlane took it over, there's a couple that like intrigued me because the character designs were cool. And this just happened to be one of those that I saw people taking pictures of it and they had the bat cycles. Like, you know what, I have to buy this even though I don't collect DC. But yeah, it looks really good on top of it. So one, right, I love the face. Very cool muscular jaw, looks really nice. You have some silver and spikes going throughout the jacket, and I did add a few extra silver highlights to bring out some details, like on the jacket, the buckles and stuff that were kind of missed. But yeah, it looks really good, right? And right now the bat cycle is pretty cheap too, so if you have the opportunity to pick this up, I think it's a really great figure. It just comes with, it just looks cool. It just looks really bad to the bone, right? So absolutely love it. So this one made number 9 on the list just because the overall design and the details in the sculpt. So big fan of that. So number 9 on our list is Death Metal Batman. Okay, number 8 on our list is Bane, Last Night on Earth, Build-A-Figure. So I know a lot of people weren't a huge fan of the Bane Build-A-Figure, but I love the detail on it. And once you assemble it, I think it works pretty good. So I remember when I first got it and was trying to assemble it, it is difficult. Just to let you know, I know one of the legs was super hard to get on it, having to heat it up and really press it on there tight to get it locked on. So it was pretty crazy. Now the wrist, one of the hands does pop off on it from time to time, which is a bummer. And it's not very articulated, so you can't get it in a ton of poses, unfortunately. But the sculpt on it is great. So really good detail, really good sculpt. You can see all the little textures on his skin. I did blackwash a little bit and add some veins just as a little touch up. Did some silver highlights on it per usual. And I love the fact that you can add the scarecrow onto his back. I think that's really, really cool. So really menacing figure, real stocky. And I think this is just a really cool one to have in your collection. And so if you can find the collection, all 4 figures for a good price, I say pick it up. Because the Bane Build-A-Figure actually is pretty cool. So as long as you're not worried about articulation, it is a really nice figure. And that is why this one made number 7, or actually number 8 on our list. Okay, number 7 on our list is Scarecrow from Arkham Knight. And I absolutely love this figure. So got it not that long ago, actually only like a month ago, but it really stuck with me. So the amount of texture and detail that they put on this is phenomenal, right? So I did do a lot of customization just because this was originally black. Put the brown on it, did a gray dry brush over the top, and then did paint the stitches, kind of a beige color to make it pop. And did paint that gauntlet brown. But it was mostly black, but if you look at it, all this detail was just kind of hidden, right? But still looks great in all black. So look at that face. Looks good,
Right, so look at all the texture, all the detail, the zipper going down the front, the buckle on the side, the cables, right? Look at the back here. Really cool pouches, really great looking trench coat. I love that one of the legs has a like a little brace on it. I think that's really, really cool. But really neat. But yeah, this figure is just exceptional. I love it. And it's a really good canvas and has a lot of good potential just to do some customization work. And this customization work, I have a video on it. So if you want to see how I did it, you can go over and check out that video. Didn't take very long, but brings out a lot of the detail. So I absolutely love this figure. And that's why this one made number 7 on the list. Like just the amount of detail, amount of texture, and just the overall character design. Like this is one of the coolest Scarecrow figures that I've seen. Just looks so evil, right? So menacing. I think that is so cool looking. So number 7 on the list, Scarecrow, Arkham Knight. Okay, number 6 on the list is the Bane Mega figure. This figure is pretty awesome. So if articulation was the problem you had with the first Bane Build-A-Figure, this one does not have that issue, especially the legs and the torso. Like you can get a lot of range of motion out of it. And even the shoulders work pretty well too. The only issue, the elbow joint doesn't work super well. You can still get into some pretty cool poses. But the detail on it looks great too. I love the height, so it's quite a bit taller than the Build-A-Figure. So very tall, right? You got good textures on the head. I love the cables going throughout. Love the skin tone. If you look close, they did a brown wash over the top of the skin to just show off the veins and the texture. So like I said, they typically don't do that a lot of McFarlane, so I love the variation and that they did the extra work to do that. I did take, you can see the little silver highlights there. I did add that just to little pieces to bring out some detail. Right, cool texture in the pants. Cool looking boots. Right, everything just looks really good on this figure. So it's great scale, so really tall, really muscular, good paint design, good details. Just a really fun figure to have. So if you haven't picked it up, I'd say definitely go pick it up because it's, I think it's pretty cheap right now on McFarlaneToyStore.com. I know they're doing a lot of sales for Christmas, so definitely check that out. But yeah, this was number 6 on the list. Okay, number 5 on the list is Killer Croc Mega Figure. And this one looks really great as well. So one, you got really good textures per usual from McFarlane, right? So good textures, good scales. Looks really, really nice. I did add the black wash just to bring out some of the details. It's the only thing this action figure needed was a black wash. But yeah, overall, look at that. Really good scales, really good texture. Right, love the nails. The face looks really good. Right, I love the teeth. Look at that, looks nice. Cool looking eyes. And on the front, they did do a white dry brushing over the green just to make the chest stick out a little bit more, which is nice. You have really cool textures and seams in the pants, which look really nice. I love kind of like the whole chain look. Obviously, this is a Killer Croc off of Arkham Asylum. But yeah, I love that. So really good textures, really good details, and a pretty massive figure. So I was really excited when I first saw this one announced. I definitely was like, this is on my list to pick up. But yeah, super awesome figure. So like I said, if you have the opportunity to pick it up, now is probably a good time, right? Christmas sales, so give it a shot. Really cool looking figure. And that is why this one made number 5 on the list. Okay, number 4 on this list is the Necron Mega Figure. So the details on this one are outstanding. One, per usual, right? The sculpt looks nice, textures look nice, but the paint application of this one is really, really good. I love it. So if you look throughout, you have it's got like a black base coat or a gray base coat, and they dry brushed a lighter color over the top and then black washed it. So it's really apparent, right? You can see in the details, right? You can tell there's a darker tone within the creases, right? Which indicates the black wash. Right, look at that. They added white to the front as well, the dry brush over the top to show more of the bones. I did black wash the staff, though, to make it look a little bit better. And look at this. You got the cloak with the hood. Really good textures throughout here. Man, that looks really good. And look at this face. Just such a menacing face and such a really cool looking figure. Now, the only hindrance on this figure is the articulation is not very good just because of all the material there, right? So with the cloak, you can't get much hip articulation or rotation at all. You can move the legs a little bit, but can't get it in too many dynamic poses. But you can maneuver the arms, and the head does maneuver pretty well too. And you got a really good pivot on it, so you could really turn it sideways to give it kind of like that dead zombie look, which I think is also a really cool effect as well. So yeah, this one, just because of all those details, that's why this would make number 4 on the list. Okay, number 3 on our list is Man-Bat Mega Figure. And the detail on this one is awesome. The only problem is those ankles. So the ankles on this are really weak, so it's really hard to stand. So if you were to see behind the scenes, it took quite a few different posing to try to get him to stand. So that's the downside of this figure, because it is heavy up top. Ankles aren't quite strong enough, unfortunately. But the detail on this is great. Look at the wings. So really good wings. You got the veins going throughout. You have the fur that they brown washed the fur to make the details pop. Right, look at that face. Really menacing face. They did put a wash in the mouth to make it look really good. You have some really cool head articulation that is really new, so you can get it to look up really well. And also look down. Look at that, you got a nice muscle back, good textures on the jeans. I did black wash the jeans just to have some of the detail kind of stick out a little bit better. But overall, this figure is outstanding, and I think one of the best mega figures that we've gotten. Like I said, the only drawback is the ankles, and that kind of hinders us from doing a lot of really cool shots. So you might need a stand for it, or you can find positions that do work. So I tend to put them at the back. You know, of any display case that I do, so I can lean them up against the back just to, you know, to protect that. But yeah, number 3 on our list is Man-Bat. Okay, number 2 on our list is the Merciless Build-A-Figure. And this figure is amazing. So this was the first, I think this was the first wave actually of DC Multiverse figures McFarlane released. And I remember seeing them and being like, none of these are very cool. And then I saw this one. I was like, ooh, that is a really cool design. This was before I knew it was a Build-A-Figure. So like, I'm going to pick up that one. And then you find out you have to buy them all to collect them. And I was like, dang, because I'm not going to do that. So I didn't do that. The crazy thing is I was wanting this figure for a while. And I happened to find it about a year ago at this local buy-sell trade store that had it for, what did they have it for? It was like for $20 or something like that. $20, maybe $30 for the Build-A-Figure. So I got a super good deal on it. So I'm glad I have it, because I did a lot of really cool photography shots with it too. But right, like, look at the details. I love the shiny metallic color, like that blue. The cool red eyes that are glowing, and they highlighted it around it to make it look like it's glowing more. Right, you have some kind of silver throughout just to kind of highlight some of those details. You have this really cool kind of fur on the back. This really cool sash, really neat chains. And overall, this figure is outstanding. I absolutely love it. So I know this is a really hard one to find these days, but if you have the opportunity to pick it up, it's pretty good. The articulation is not terrible. I mean, it's not the best, but it's not terrible. And it is just such a menacing, cool-looking figure. So that is why this one made number 2 on the list for best DC Universe figures so far. Okay, first on our honorable mentions is Batman, the Dark Detective, and Batman, the Last Night on Earth. Both these figures are pretty sweet, so I did customize this one a little bit. Last Night on Earth, so I did do just some black wash, some silver highlights. I did put a black wash on his outfit just to dirty it up a little bit, because it was pretty plain, and I didn't like that as much. Now this one I didn't have to do a whole lot of, I didn't actually do any custom on this one. And it had some pretty good details. So like the jacket, right, had a little whitish gray color dry brushed over the top to make the details stick out. Pretty good sculpt throughout. Kind of a really fun figure. It's funny, the Last Night on Earth, I wasn't planning on buying it, but I really wanted the Bane Build-A-Figure at the time. So I ended up finding it for a cheap price on Amazon to get them all. I was like, okay, I'll get them. And for some reason, after I got that one, I absolutely loved it. Like, I've done so many pictures with it that I just really, really like. So, let's see. Do I have any on the wall currently? I do. They're kind of far away, though. But I did one up there with him kind of walking in the background. I think it's pretty cool. There's a close-up one somewhere. I just can't seem to find it. It might be on the sides of the table. But yeah, both really great figures. So both really good sculpts, good details. Both make really good poses, especially when you're doing like a walking pose for both of them. This one's a little hard to get in the walking pose because he's kind of got a wide stance and it's hard to put one leg in front of the other, whereas this one's pretty easy and get it looking pretty good. And I love that it came with the Joker's head in there, pretty cool. So that whole collection and this Batman really made me want to read the comics. So I don't own any DC graphic novels, and that is the first, actually. That was the first one that I bought as far as DC goes. So always been into Marvel and some of the more obscure comics too. Some of the Boom Studio stuff like Irredeemable, Incorruptible, Extermination, like some really neat ones like that. But overall, so far, really liked it. Didn't finish it yet, but really good. But yeah, both these figures were pretty good. Didn't quite make the list, just because there were some really good ones on the list, but both great figures in their own right. Okay, next in the honorable mentions is Red Hood. Both these action figures are pretty cool. So first one, I wanted to get the original release, but missed out on it. It's too expensive now. But when this one came out, I thought it was pretty cool. I liked the leather jacket, kind of the whole leather look, so I did buy this one. And I actually customized the bat cycle originally just for him, which I thought was pretty cool. And then when I saw this one that came out, I was like, ooh, I got to get this one. Originally, when I got it, they sent me the Platinum Edition instead, and yeah, I wasn't a fan of that, so had to return it and get the original because I liked the way it was kind of designed and built. So so with this one, I did do some silver highlight customs on the leather jacket, just zippers, etc. Because not a whole lot of that was. I don't like anything on it was silver. That definitely adds a nice touch. This one, on the other end, didn't have to do much, but both these figures are really cool. I just think the Red Hood concept is just really, really neat. Love the look. So both of these didn't make the top 10 list. However, both of them are really, really cool action figures. And I love the red metallic paint they use for his helmet. That is just so sick. Love that. But yeah, both these figures are really great. Like I said, didn't make the top 10 list, but definitely honorable mentions. Okay, next on the honorable mentions list is Deathstroke and the Grim Knight. And I like to pose the Grim Knight in this, so I got it to do its spinny thing, so it looks pretty cool there. But Grim Knight comes right packed with a bunch of weapons, looks really cool. The only thing I did not like too much was I wasn't a huge fan of the face sculpt that they did. But other than that, I love all the accessories, all the details, etc. It definitely has some customization opportunities, however, I did not take advantage of that yet. I just kind of left it plain the way it is. But I'm looking like that could be one of my next figures I decide to customize a little bit just to bring out some of the detail. But yeah, really great figure and looks great on this, the Bat Raptor. And then the other one, Deathstroke. So I did quite a bit of customization on Deathstroke. You could tell I added a lot of extra details, wanted to kind of scuff up his armor a little bit, added a black wash. Yeah, just highlighted a lot of the details, painted some of the guns and silver highlights. So that one was pretty plain in box, unfortunately. But, right, just I'd say maybe an hour or so, just doing a little bit of customization really brought out a lot of the detail, and it looks much better in my opinion. But both these figures, like I said, are both amazing figures. Did not quite make the top 10, but definitely belong in an honorable mentions list. Okay, number one on best DC Multiverse figures so far by McFarlane is the Swamp Thing. This figure is way, way cooler than I anticipated. So when I saw it was releasing, I mean, I thought the imagery looked okay. I actually kind of passed on it at first, but I decided to buy it because, right, it was kind of plain green. I mean, they did do some dry brushing and stuff to kind of enhance it, but I just remember thinking, like, I want to do some customizing, so I decided I would get it and use it as a template, and it looks outstanding. So after some of the customization I did, right, I added a little bit of brown in there, did a black wash over the top, and just kind of added these different textures to it. And it didn't take long at all, but it looks outstanding. And I pose this figure all the time. Like, I mean, the details and the sculpt and stuff are amazing, right? The roses on the neck, the vines going throughout the moss on the side, right? The different leaves. Look at that, the bark. Man, look at this. I just cannot believe all the detail that they put in this. So this is definitely like one of the coolest mega figures. The articulation is great. You get into cool poses. It's literally like a foot tall. It's super big. And it just looks outstanding. I think it's definitely a must-have for anyone's collection. I think it is outstanding. Look at that. Look at all that detail. Right, I know they have some deals, so definitely find it out there. I know they did make a variant with the horns, so that was really cool. I just didn't want to rebuy it again for the horns. But look at that face. That face looks good. Wow, looks so cool. But yeah. So this one, because of the detail, because of the size, the articulation, everything as a whole, this one was number one on my list of top DC figures by McFarlane so far. Now that doesn't mean, right, he's releasing figures so fast, that doesn't mean this will be number one forever. So maybe I'll make a new list in another year or two after I accumulate some more. But for now, this is number one on the list and a highly recommended action figure.
Okay, thank you for tuning into this list today of the top DC multi-figures by McFarlane so far. Hopefully you like the video. Feel free to like and subscribe because I'm going to continue to do more videos like this. And feel free to drop in the comments if there's any other top 10 lists that you would like to see me do. But yeah, thanks again for tuning in, and I will catch you next time.